Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey everyone, really glad you're here today.
We sure are. We're excited to have you here today because we are going to have a workshop. This is just a little bit different than how we might normally go about these calls. This is, by the way, with AttractWell, we offer free calls every Thursday at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time, and it's a great opportunity to get a little bit more familiar with the system. And today we're going to get very familiar with a new feature that we have in the system, and that is our email builder. So today is a email branding workshop. And we're excited to have you here for it. If you're new, welcome. If you're returning, we love having you here. Greg and I have our video on now. We'll come back and join you with video here in just a bit. Go ahead and head into the chat while we pop out a video here. Let us know where you're coming in from. And what you do in your business. We're going to get into today's slides here. We've got a little bit of just sort of overview to talk about, but the bulk of what we're really going to be doing is inside of AttractWell, showing you how to use this awesome new feature that Greg has created. And very specifically today, I want to make sure that you know how to engage with this feature in such a way that you design once and you don't have to do it again, right? I want this to be something that doesn't create new labor for you, but it is something that allows you to show up beautifully and effectively and on brand every time you send and in a way that is streamlined. So let's get into it. Today, we are going to talk about how you can use Canva along with AttractWell to create branded templates for your emails. We're going to talk about how to design reusable sections that you'll use again and again. We'll talk about some very important considerations for using images in email. We'll talk about some simple best practices and, of course, as always, life help and Q&A. I did have two people sign up today. I see you here, Erica. Ben, if you're here, definitely pop your hand up. Let me know. I'll be bringing you guys out in the second half of the call to discuss the questions that you signed up with. So if you do have questions, by the way, as we are going through the content here, please do go ahead and add those to the Q&A directly here on the live call. It does help us to be able to see that the questions are being asked because the chat can get a little busy. If you are watching this as a replay, come join us. We're live every Thursday, and we would love to have you here with us. It's totally free, even if you aren't with AttractWell yet, and you're just kind of testing the waters to see if this might be your next best move, or you're looking to maybe migrate your business from one or usually many platforms over to one place. We've got you covered. Head over to attractwell.com/office hours, and you can be signed up for all of our upcoming Thursday calls. You'll get our reminders, you'll get our replays, and of course, you'll get to hang out with us here if you choose. Now, if you would like to work together as two people signed up to do here today, you can go to attractwell.com/work review. This is a free opportunity to get your questions answered and to get hands-on if you need it. One of many ways to get help from our team. And if you would like to actually hand off the work that you want done to our team, maybe you want them to design email for you. That's totally fine. Our team can do that. You can go to attractwell.com/concierge. All right, so before we get started, because this is a design workshop, we need to make sure we've got a couple of key things in place. Number one, I want you to make sure that you have a brand guideline, or if you don't have a brand guideline or you're not sure what that is, that you at the very least have a brand kit set up in Canva. Okay. Basically, what I'm advocating for here is that you've got all of your colors and fonts that you use for your brand in a place where they're easily accessible so that we can add them to other places that they matter. And at the end of the day, if this isn't something that you already have set up, it is something that you should consider because our brand is really what people are influenced by. And even if that brand is you, your name, that is something that you have the power to wield in the same way that Apple or Coca-Cola or Google or other big names that everybody knows, you have the ability to really make the same sort of impact if you follow similar principles that these big brands do. And that begins with staying consistent with how you show up, whether that's on your website, on your social, or in the inbox. So we want to make sure that our colors are set and we are keeping them consistent throughout everything that we do, and similarly as well with fonts. You can also, of course, if you have a brand kit or a brand guideline, you're able to attach logos, images, elements, etc. So those brand colors you can make sure are, of course, set up. That's going to be core to what we're working on here today. But if there are things that you use often, then we're going to want to make sure those are readily available as well. And what we want to make sure that we do is set up our colors and fonts in AttractWell so that they're the same as they are in Canva. And then we're going to identify our most common email formats, right? So think about what you use email for most often or what you plan to use it for most often. The examples we'll be going over today, I think, are going to be pretty useful for the majority of us, but you may have others that are related to maybe programs that you run. Um, maybe you've got something that's, specific to something that you're selling. Lots of different ways that we could explore this. But we're going to talk about here today newsletter format, lead magnet delivery, call invitation, and event promotion. Okay. So those are the brand templates we're going to work on here today, right? So this is going to be first a newsletter, and this is going to include sections that you can reuse for things like upcoming events, maybe content that you're sharing, posts on your blog. Lead magnet delivery. So everybody who has a funnel has an initial email, a day zero email that we're sending out that actually provides the thing that we are offering. So we need an email that does that. If you have events, this is another great tool where you can have maybe an email that that confirms, that promotes, that reminds, and then we could also look at some custom signature sections, maybe some testimonial and case study sections. All of these we can get into here today. Now, another thing that I want to make sure that we're really clear on before we start getting to work here in this workshop is that we understand the elements that we're talking about. Now, if you've been with AttractWell for any amount of time, then you know that in our basic email editor, which you still have, by the way, still super useful, we have this really, really cool tool called Saved Replies. And it's similar to what you might see as maybe called canned responses in certain platforms, depending on what you've used in the past. And basically, what this is a way for you to either populate an entire email or just blocks of pre-formatted text, images, links, etc., so that you don't have to go reinvent the wheel every time you need to repeat something, right? We love saved replies. They're great for email, they're great for blog posts, they're great for class lessons. They're really interesting sort of modular thing that you can use in AttractWell, right? Now, with the email builder, we don't have saved replies in the same way. I am going to show you how you can convert them today, but we have this really cool thing called sections in the email builder. Pretty straightforward, but you get to save your sections. And obviously, these are custom to you, and you can easily go and grab them and use them wherever and whenever you need to. So again, you don't have to go through the process of designing and redesigning every time you go to create something. Now, finally, before we get started, let's talk about some best practices for email design. I want you to always remember that the most important thing that we are doing is saying what we have to say in a way that people can understand and take action on. And we want to make sure that whatever it is that we're doing with our design does not distract from that. Right. So I want to encourage you to keep your layout simple for clarity and deliverability. This is a non-negotiable. You're going to catch this. And I'll show you tools that'll make sure that you get this right every time as we get closer to the end of today's demonstration here. But you want to use this thing called alternate text on all of your images so that readers can access your content no matter what device they're on or if their device is limiting the loading and viewing of images. Right. You also want to test your templates. This will be a final step that we follow today. Test them with mail-tester.com before you send. That'll alert you to any flags that you might need to pay attention to. And then, of course, we'll start with this today. We have a bunch of new done for you templates for all of these use cases that you can use and then customize for your brand, including Canva templates that we created for you. And real quick, before we get started, if anybody here, if you've used platforms before with drag and drop style email builders, then you may be familiar with how all of this works. But I just want to point something out real quick for anybody who is unaware. With AttractWell, you don't just get email, right? With AttractWell, you have your website, you have your contact manager, you have automations, campaigns, email, text. You've got a private member area, you've got payments, you've got event management, you've got calendar booking, all of this for the same price you would pay if you were to just go to Flowdesk or MailChimp today and get one of their basic plans. So just a quick little bit of context there. So what we're about to do is go look at how AttractWell works to send emails. And of course, if you decide to work with us to do this, you are saving yourself hundreds and hundreds of dollars a year because who needs to go buy a Unitasker tool that you have to then go pay something else for to tie it together with the other things that you need to work. All right, so let's go get into this demo and get into the live helping Q&A. Do please make sure as you have questions that those are going in to the Q&A so that we don't miss anything that you have to share here. All right. So first things first, I actually want to go over to Canva and show you what I mean by a brand kit. All right. So in Canva here, if we come over to brand over here on the left-hand side, this is a Canva Pro account, by the way. And I really do believe that this is one of the few outside of AttractWell, or really, I don't know, to be fair, it's the only paid thing outside of AttractWell that I believe is indispensable for everyone. And it's like $100 a year. It's worth every penny. It's very easy to use, and you have a lot of dialed in control over your brand. I've got brand kits here. Here's the one we're going to be working with here today. And we've got a pretty neutral palette. This is Jane. We've got her favicon here. Looks like my computer is taking its sweet time loading her logos. That's totally fine. But this is what I wanted to make sure that you guys have in place, right? You want to make sure that you have a brand kit set up for your business. Now, if you don't have Canva Pro, there is sort of a cheat code to this. Again, can't recommend enough. It's worth the money. But if you needed to, you could go and create I'm just going to pretend that I'm making a presentation, and I'm going to go over to elements in Canva, and I'm going to use shapes, and I'm just going to add, 6 or so circles here. And I'm going to make each of them the color, right? Each of them is going to be a color that I want to use for my brand. And again, this is going to be reflected on my social media, on my website, um, on my emails, of course, what we'll be creating here today. So we want to be consistent with that. So you can line these up however you wish, and then you're going to go in again using, a hex code or picking colors that you see here. You're just going to add all of those here. Save this. Maybe consider adding some text with the actual code, the numerical code for the color. So like this one, for instance, if I click here and I hover, you can see this E1CA96. I would actually put that here. And this is a way that you could actually create yourself a little basic brand guideline, right? So once I have that, I can actually even copy this from the document and paste it where I want it to go if I actually need the code. Okay. And then, of course, again, you would just change these to all the other colors that you want if you don't have this premium or pro, rather, Canva Pro feature. Okay, so getting back over here to AttractWell, what we do want to make sure that we have in place is our colors and fonts in our system. So if you go over to website and blog and you click colors and fonts, we can see here brand colors, and we can also see our button colors and our fonts here. Now, this account does not have the correct branding colors set up. So I'm actually going to drag that to another window so that I can easily go and grab these colors and apply them here in AttractWell. So I can actually just click here in AttractWell and use my eyedropper tool. And I'm going to go and select and swap these out so that I have the actual correct colors that I want to use throughout on my site. So I'm just going to keep going with this until all of these are set up and have my colors included, right? And this is very simple. It's very straightforward. I'm doing this on a Mac. It will look slightly different for you if you are on a PC, but it's not wildly different. And it's pretty basic. It's pretty straightforward, right? We're just going to be going and adding all of our colors that are in our brand kit. And I believe this one has like 6. So we've got white and black, and we've got a couple of other here as well. So I'm going to make that one black, make that one white, And I think with that, I can do one more. Another thing that I highly recommend that you do at this point as well, I will not be doing this for the sake of expediency today. Do go ahead and make sure that all of these colors that you have here, that you also have them represented down here in your primary colors, or sorry, in your primary colors, in your buttons, right? You want to make sure that all these buttons that are preset in your system reflect the colors that you want to be using. So if I want to make sure that this is my primary button here, it's called primary. My secondary button, I am going to make this color, maybe change that to where it's white. We've got a little bit more there. So again, a bit more you can do with that. You can style that. I'm going to go ahead and save changes and just keep these two here, but I recommend going ahead and changing all of that if you haven't done so yet. Okay, so with that in place, we can now head over to our content library where we have everything that we use to build stuff in AttractWell. And one of those things is our email templates. This is our new feature here. So here in our email templates, you can actually see some of the ones that I have already created. I'm going to go ahead and actually delete some of these that I know I'm not going to use. And let me see, I'm going to delete that. And I'm just going to start from scratch because I want you to see what this looks like when you get started. Because we do actually have templates that I am going to show you how you can access and use, but these are going to be your templates, right? So when you go to write an email, you're going to be able to choose from one of these things that's totally yours and set up the way that you want it. Okay, so I'm going to go click add template here, and I'm going to choose one of these options. Now you can see that I have really four primary or sorry, three primary sort of themes here. I've got a leaf one, I've got a graphic gray one, and I've got a soft floral one. There are other templates that are here. This minimalist one has Canva image templates as well, but all of these are going to come with Canva templates that are going to fit in with what you are trying to do. I'm going to work with, I think, let's see. What are we going to start with here today? Let's go ahead and start with the graphic gray newsletter. How about that? So if I like this, I can go preview it, see how it's working. It's looking nice. You can see that this is an image that's in Canva. This is also an image that's in Canva. I do want to, and I said this last week, so just in case it bears repeating, I want to make sure to impress upon you the importance of not overdoing it with images in email. You do that, and you will run the risk of a poor user experience for people who can't load images, say on their phone, for instance. And then you also do run the risk of landing in the promotions folder because the types of businesses that bulk send emails that are full of images are shoe stores, right? Or makeup companies, things that like you need to see, visually see the stuff that's being talked about. And for the majority of us, especially where we're talking about, services that we offer, even if you sell things like courses, you still want to be minimal on sort of how much you're putting into these emails, where your designs are concerned. And where you do use them, you want to make sure you're using alternate text. So if I click right here, actually in this template, and I click alternative text, you can see here where it says read the blog. Right? Because that's what this is all about. This also, because it's got this little fake button on it, should be hyperlinked, right? And so this should have the blog post. So this is really just an example of what a newsletter could look like. So we open up, we say, hi, this is me, and it's going to look the same way each time it sends. This is going to populate your name if you have this my underscore name here. And contact first name will say their name. Now you can say a quick little hello. You can give yourself a little, XO. There's my name again. Here's the blog post. Here's why you'll love it. Here are the events that are coming up. And save your seat. We've got a button right here. Okay. Now, this does not currently reflect the branding that's in this account, right? It's graphic gray. It's very sort of black and white, but I do like the simplicity of it. So I am going to use it. Another note here, real quick. This is a signature block from right over here. And this is going to auto-populate what you have in your accounts, in your contact settings. So if we go to AttractWell just really quickly so that you're aware of this, when you send emails using our basic email editor and you go over to here to settings, general settings, it's going to automatically populate what you put right here. and my email signature. This is also going to automatically populate at the bottom of the campaign messages that go out that are made with our basic email editor, not this builder, right? With the builder, you can customize your signature here. You could use multiple different types of signatures and swap them out for different purposes. So let's just say, for instance, I don't want to be sending to my clients something that says apply now and schedule your call. I perhaps in this case would rather say log in to the member area, right? If I'm sending this to clients. And here I would maybe do these little arrows and say log in, and then I would have the link to my member area. There we go. All right, so that's there. Well, this is different from this one, right? So I need to save a version of this. So what I'll do is I'll go here and add this block to my save sections, and this will be a client sign off, right? Or client signature or signature for clients, or however you want to say that. I'm going to click Save Section, and I can now pull this over in any email that is dedicated, that's supposed to be specifically for clients. And if I want to use that's the one that's in my general settings, I could always still just come back over here to blocks and drag over that original version. And you can see that that's there. Right. So now if you want to use an alternate version, you can just simply go to your sections here, and there's my client sign off. And this is something that I can make sure is included when I'm sending something out to clients, right? Okay, so let's take a quick look at how we can make some modifiers here. Make this look a little bit more like our brand, right? Because if we recall, again, if we go over to our colors and fonts here, we've got a palette that is not very gray, right? We've got more, khaki tan, these neutrals here. And so what I'd like to do, I think, is to retain this white here. I do like that. But I think that I would like to punctuate the color with the images that I'm using, right? Now, all of the images that are being used are right here. You can click to open and take advantage of the Canva template that's here. And this is what we would use, for instance, to promote the blog post in our newsletter. This is what we would use, of course, to promote the events that we have coming up. So if I wanted to make changes to this, I could delete this image background. I could change that background color. I could come over here and maybe Jane uses nature images. And this one will be about the fall, right? So this, I'm going to type in autumn and go to photos. And I like this one. I'll drag it over and I will set it as the background. Now, I don't think that this really comports with my color scheme. I'm going to detach this from the background, make the background of this image one of my colors, like this one, reattach this, replace the background, and then I'm going to just give it a little transparency so that it's going to kind of feed through some of that color. So I can then save this. I can download it to my let's say I can download it to my device, and then I can upload it into this template. Of course, the template as is, this particular one is pretty straightforward. You would just, for instance, for this, if I am batch producing my blog posts, or I am hosting multiple events per month, or maybe just one event per month, I would go ahead and just create everything here, download it all, and then go in, and let me just go ahead and give you an example here. So here's one post. I'm going to do another one also in the month of November that is going to, let's see, maybe I will use this image here. Again, setting that as the background and then changing up that transparency so that it's got a little bit more of that color that fits with my theme. All right, so this is my title. This is maybe the second blog post of the month, right? And so I just go ahead and in bulk create this. And for my events, again, I would swap out some images here, right? Make it look however I want to make it look, etc. You see where I'm going with this. and save these images, right? So I'm going to go ahead and download these. I know it's not perfect and complete, but I do want to make sure that you guys understand how to do this. So this is an example of a post. This obviously isn't going to be one of Jane's, but you do want to make sure you've got alternative text here. This is read the blog. If you are going to be linking off, as I am in this case, to a blog post, we want to make sure that there's a link here. So this is going to be my blog, and I'm just going to put a hashtag in here just as a placeholder for now so that there's a link. I'm going to click here and I'm going to replace, and I'm going to go find my image in my downloads. And here is my blog post for the first week of the month. And I'm going to give that image just a moment to load. There we go. But if it's not time for me to create this yet, we can do something else with this. I'm going to go ahead and save this. This is going to be my November 3rd blog post. Once I have this section, it's linked to the post that I want it to go to. It's got the image, it's got the alternative text. I'm going to go ahead and save this section because maybe I'm going to talk about this another time. Maybe I want to email about this a couple of times during the month, referring people over to this post that I created. And you could do this with your events as well. In particular, I think for events, this is going to be really important for you. And that's because when you have an event, you're usually talking about it for a number of weeks ahead of time, right? So we would make sure that our event is here. We, again, link it up, do whatever you want to do with it, make sure that this looks the way you want to. Now, this is not going to be cute, but let me just show you real quick if you wanted to get into some dialed in settings for the color. Actually, let me go and move to another template and show you how I might do that there. So with the Leaf newsletter, again, these are Canva images that you have access to. They're very simple to actually like edit and change with the Canva template that's provided for those. So by all means, of course, use them. But all you're really going to do is just go in and make those swaps, and it's just ready for you to use when it's time for you to write your newsletter, right? You are always going to be saying something about your blog post. You're going to be linking to it. You're going to say something about your upcoming event. You're going to be linking to it. But these other things, they don't change. They're static. And that's really the whole point of having a template like this that's really dialed in and designed for your business and what you do, right? Oh, I shouldn't have gone back there. I need to go back to email templates. Okay, so let's go ahead and move into another use case, which would be a lead magnet delivery. So this is the Leaf option. This would be like your day zero email when someone they join your list, they opt in for your lead magnet. Let's go ahead and grab the template images here from Canva. And you can see that it's very easy. If I go over here and I want to change the colors to one of my brand colors, I'm actually going to maybe make this one that color just to make sure it's correct. I'm just going to go ahead and do that and change all to that color. I'm going to do the same with the color of the font. Again, sticking with these colors. If I do this and you click change all, it does it quickly. It's pretty awesome. Let me make sure that this is also changed. I think it did that for me. Okay, so you can see here I've got three different types of images for the Leaf one. They're all going to be slightly different depending on the email template that you choose from AttractWell. But this one has a couple of little mock-ups. I'll show you really quickly how to use these. But first, this is going to be the section that that just depicts the lead magnet. Do you have to do this? No. Does it look nice? Absolutely. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to actually create a couple of little mock-ups here for my awesome product that we're going to invent really quickly. So if you want to learn how to use this, check this out. So the first thing we're going to do, we need to make sure that we've got something that is like wallpaper for a computer screen, right? And maybe another that's like wallpaper for a phone. So just pretend like you're making one of those. So I'm going to type in wallpaper. Um, and let me see. Actually, that's not what I need to do. I'm going to go to create and then I'm going to type in wallpaper. And let's see if it gives me, there we go, desktop wallpaper. That gives me good dimensions. And I am going to say online course. And I'm just going to find a template. Uh, Beautiful. How about that? Okay. So I'm gonna download this image to my device. And then I'm gonna come back over here to my newsletter image templates. And I'm actually going to upload that image that I just downloaded from Canva as its own image here. So you can see I'm going to drag that right in. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to drag it into this frame. And do you see what it's doing? It's there. All right. So I want to resize this to phone wallpaper. There we go. Resize this design. Obviously, this is not cute. You would want to redo this, but I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to download this to my device. And then once I have that, I can drag it into here and drag it into this phone. And that's how you get your mock-up. Okay. So obviously you're going to change the name, you're going to save all of this stuff. And here is a place where we can also grab a testimonial from a client. So let me go pretend like I have a client photo in here. This would be a woman smiling. How about that? All right. I drag her over, move her so she's centered, and there we go, right? Change all that information out. Obviously, you can duplicate this for multiple clients and different stories, right? So here we'll go ahead and drag her in, make sure she's nice and centered, and I'm going to go ahead and download this. I'm going to download all of it. And then I can come back over here to my templates and get started, right? So first things first, need to make sure that our colors that are in here are vibing with the brand. So I am going to take note first of the background of the whole email. I'm going to double click the background to go to my overall settings. If I would like to have a background color like this, I could. I don't really like the sea of color effect though, but I think it is nice to have just a little bit of a background color to give some lift. So what I'm going to do here is take my email background color and I'm just going to pick this like super light gray and it just gives dimension, right? So like when you are viewing this email, it gives a little bit of space around it and it's not just this like flat white thing, right? Because if your email background is white and you don't have a border around this, which you can make by the way, everything just kind of there's no edge, right? It just kind of bleeds into the broader background. So I'm going to have that there, and I believe this is already one of Jane's brand colors, but I'm going to go ahead and double check, and it is okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start swapping out my images. So this one's for my lead magnet. And that's this one, lead magnet mockup. And you could see the way that this is set up. When it attaches to this section beneath it, you can actually tell if the colors aren't the same. Do you see? So I do need to address the background color of this section, which is actually really easy because you can just click it, go to show colors, and use your little eyedropper to go find it. And there it is. And so I'll need to do the same for this section here, make sure that that background color is the color that we want. And that's this one. Excellent. And I'm going to go ahead and swap this one out as well. There's our download call to action. And you can see how this all comes together very seamlessly and it looks like a splash sort of in the middle of the email, right? Pretty cool. And then down here, we've got a client testimonial. And you can do this without images if you wanted to, of course. If you wanted to maybe go over here and add a text block, you could have a photo that you add. And this is a really cool thing that Greg did. Let me go and see if I'm just going to use an image from Pixabay. You also don't necessarily have to have Canva, which is cool. So I'm going to grab this image here and I'm going to edit this image and have it cropped so that we can do something that's maybe a little bit similar to the effect that we're trying to work with there. So if I go here to add frame to image, I can look through all of the ones that are here and available and pick the one that I like. I'm going to use this oval. We'll give it a moment. But what I'm going to do after that, of course, for all of these images, you want to make sure that you are using your alternative text, right? So this would be your client's name. I'm going to display this inline, and I am definitely going to shrink the size down. And I'm going to, I think, probably make this 75 pixels and see if I like it. That's too small. I'm going to make this 100, and I think that we should be good to go. So I'll change that width, go to 100 there. And by the way, this image is now saved in your image library as it is cropped here. And so here I can say, client story here, right? If you wanted to do that in line, another option here would be to look at the different section templates, and you can see that there is, excuse me, image on the left and text on the right. So we could also just go there and swap out that photo of her that we just cropped, and we can put in her story here, right? So you do have more options. I am, for the sake of expediency today, using Canva for this purpose. So I am going to go and grab those testimonial images. There's testimonial one. And you see, they're a little too close together. I want a little bit more visual space. So we also have a spacer that we can drag in right there. Don't want that background color, so I'm going to change that over to white. And it's starting to look good, right? I'm going to go ahead and duplicate that, drag it down beneath, give it a little bit more breathing room, have that stand out. And you could punctuate and sort of, really draw eyes to this. You can add another section. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this one, put it beneath my spacer, and add another spacer again, just to kind of keep that nice visual movement. Now let's talk about creating a custom saved section here. And use this little thing right here where it says add this block to my saved sections. This is how we can actually save these templates, or sorry, these sections of templates into your template sections here so that you can use them moving forward. So I'm going to add this, and this is a Teresa testimonial. And I'm going to save it. And then I can do that for Jody's, and I can do that for John's, et cetera. And so you can actually have easy for you to just drop right into your emails all of these great case studies, testimonials, et cetera, right? So that is how you might go about creating your lead magnet one. Let me go ahead and save this. This is going to be lead magnet day zero. I'm going to save that. And this is something that I'll be able to just pop right into a campaign when I'm building a campaign for my funnel. All right, so I'm done editing this one. There are, and you'll see once you create one, it'll show up here in your templates, and you could always go add another. I do have a couple more here for Leaf, like an event confirmation, event reminder. You can see how this is set up. You can absolutely make modifications to this, change the background colors, change the fonts, etc. Which, by the way, really quickly, in your overall settings, I would double click on the background. You can choose the from address that you're sending this from here as well. Your background color, the message body background color, the default font family. You see that there are email safe fonts. There are fonts that work in most email programs, and there are lots of fonts that do not work in most email programs. So I would caution getting too crazy or creative with fonts. Where you want something that's super dialed in font wise, make it an image. It will help, right? Because you want to make sure again that these things are going to show up correctly when you send them. So yeah, that is what it looks like to use the templates that we have created here. Let's talk really quickly for those of us who have been using saved replies for some time, what it would look like to actually go and turn those into the sections that you want to be using. All right. So let's go over here to our dashboard in AttractWell. All right, how are we doing so far? And I will be showing you guys how to use Mail Tester here in just a bit. Um, can you explain how I can embed a video from Loom? Tried today, didn't really work. Yeah, I'll show you guys in just a second what it looks like to share video. We don't embed video. That's something that so far as I know, only Loom does that. And I will be showing Mail Tester, Angela. Let me see. With our signature, is it best to create it in Canva or in AttractWell? For your signature, I absolutely recommend that you create it in AttractWell. You can, use it your image of yourself. So just to go and show you the one that's here, um, in this example account under Contact Settings General. This is an image that would have been created in Canva, right? So you can have something like this. It, of course, needs to have alternative text that shows your name. But I wouldn't do the whole thing here in Canva. I would do elements of it, components of it. Another thing that you can do. Let me see down here. You can see that this loads automatically, but then there are pieces of this that you can use, right? So like this is a custom social media icon section, again, created using some Canva images. These are inline images that I've sized down to 30 pixels, and I used this inline display option right here. Make sure that, of course, that they have alternative text and that they are linked, right? And then once you have this, you can save it into your save sections. And then here, I actually don't have this version saved. So I'm going to go ahead and save this to social media icons. And you've got these different, components of your signature that you can use to build these templates. And you never have to worry about, changing your signature again. Or of course, can delete the save section that you have and save a new version if you need to. All right. So let me see. Oh yeah, what I was about to show you guys. So you've got saved replies, right? Saved replies are really cool, really great way to just pop in stuff that's already written. And if you are like me, you might have pages and pages of this, right? And you want to be able to utilize what you've built here with the builder in AttractWell. So the first thing that you should know is that you already can, and it's pretty straightforward. You just want to go over to email templates, and where there is copy that's in a saved reply that you want to use, you can actually go and I'm going to go pretend like I'm creating a new template here. I can go into any section where you have an editor and saved replies is here. So let me go and create a new text section here. And oof, let's make that background color correct. That is off. There we go. We'll make sure that our text is is the right color here as well. I'm just going to go ahead and do that here. All right. So what I'm going to do here with saved replies is I'm just going to go find it, right? So what do I want to use? Maybe this, right? So this is already made, right, from a saved reply previously. It's already formatted. You could just use that, which is pretty cool. But there's other ways that you can do this that I think are even more interesting and compelling. It's sort of a little hack that I discovered a couple days ago. Pretend like you're going to a campaign. And again, this is for those of us who are really interested in turning our saved replies into sections for our emails in the email builder. So let's just go create a dummy thing. So this is just going to be my campaign. I'm never going to use this. Nobody's going to see it. I'm literally only going to use this to convert my saved replies. So check this out. Add a message to the campaign. And you can actually use your email builder from here as well. Recommend that you start with a template that you've already created so you aren't starting from scratch. But here, let's go edit email, and I'm going to edit in the basic email editor because this is still available and it's awesome. So I'm going to go here to saved replies, and I'm going to find maybe my monthly live event saved reply, which I don't know that I want to use this one actually. Let me go and find a different one. No, I don't have a great example ready. Here we go. How about like a niche sign off? There we go. Or I could do, just want to show you how this is actually really easy. So podcast episode, blog post. Yeah, how about this? This is cool. So this is a saved reply. This has saved me time in the past. I'm actually going to take this thing that looks very familiar if you've been using AttractWell for some time, and I'm going to click edit email in email builder. And look at that. It's there. And if this is something that I know that I want to insert into other block style emails in the future, I can still click this. I can still swap the image. I can still change the things that I'm saying here, etc. But I can just go and save this to a save section. So here's um, podcast episode 341, 241, right? And save that section. And now, anytime that you want to talk about podcast episode 241 in a future email, a year from now, 2 years from now, you can go to that section and you can go and drop all that information there. The links are there, the replay, all of that stuff, it's there and it's ready for you to use. And I can just X out of this because I'm not actually writing a campaign. I am just using this format to translate my saved replies into saved sections, which is a pretty quick, simple, easy thing to do. All right. Let me show you real quick. And this is as true in the email builder as it is in our regular email editor, Dr. Hill, to address your question about video. So the video that you would be sharing, in this case, I would recommend should be something that's hosted in your AttractWell account. And that's going to be down here under your content library. There's videos right here. And you want to make sure that whatever video you want to share is something that is shareable via link, right? So right here where it says share with link, you're going to want to click that to make it shareable. Now, from here, once you've got that done, you can actually go over here to add video. And I wonder if I have, yeah, this one here. I'm going to select this video. And it's just going to go, when they click it, it's going to actually take them to a unique link on my website that just has this video on it. But you could also send them to a page where it's actually embedded if it's important to you. But go ahead and click add video to email. And the neat thing is that if this video, well, for most people, video actually has, video. There's people moving. I just didn't have a lot of examples of that. It'll actually populate this GIF that you see right here. It's like an animated image, and so it'll look like there's a video for them to play, but they have to actually click it. And when they do, it will take them to a page just like this, again, where it's just the video. So that is how you send video with us. You could also just send a link. Let me see. Was I right-clicking the image to detach? And I did just do a drag. Yeah, with Canva. I dragged that image over. And to detach an image from the background, um, how did I do that? Let's talk about that real quick just to make sure that you're clear. Because most of these do have image backgrounds, or a number of them do. This one certainly does. So what I'm doing on a trackpad is I'm two finger clicking, and that would be the same as if you were on, if you had a mouse, you would right click and detach from background is right there. All right. Um, okay, for alt text, yes, let's take a look at that. So here's an image, right, for our podcast episode. I'm going to go up here to alternative text. So basically, you just need to select the image, click on the image, whether it's its own section or it's just going to be this, um, just something that's inside of a section like this one is. Alternative text is this one. It's the same menu that you would use to crop or frame an image, to hyperlink it, etc., or to swap it out, right? So that's the T right here for alternative text. All right. Is there a way of finding what the dimensions are for the sections that are image? You have designs that you've already created that you might want to resize and embed in your emails. Yeah. So Alex, as a general rule, 600 pixels wide is a good width for an image that would stretch the entire width of an email. And in terms of the height of that, that really is just going to depend on your preferences, right? So if I come back over here to these Canva templates that we have, this is a very different sort of size than this one. This one's like an Instagram post, and this one is square. So there's not like one right way. It's really just a matter of preference, but I would recommend starting with 600 pixels wide if you're trying to resize something of your own. And for all of these, that I have sort of suggested here for you. You can resize any of these. And another thing that you could do if you want to take in your existing designs. So let's just say, for instance, you do like this, you want to use this. What you could do is let's add a page and then go to projects in Canva and go find that other design that you want to import in, right? That other image that you want to import in. So maybe I really like, gosh, there's a lot of crazy stuff in here. It would maybe this one, right? So I want to actually import that in, and it came right over, right? So you can actually take inside of this same Canva file that you've been given, you can import your existing designs into that as well. All right, let's see. Unclear as to how I'm trading out the photos in the template. Yeah, so in the template, here, let me change my template. It's the same as adding alternate text. You click it, click the image, and there is a replace right there. And then you go and you get it from your device, or you go to Pixabay, or you get animated images from Giphy. You've got a bunch of options there. All right. Yulia, we did do a live event, like a live thing on like a webinar style training in the past. I will have to look that up and get back to you on that one. Um, okay, Dr. Hill, your address that's showing up at the bottom when you send an email, depending, I don't know where in the world you are, but in the US, there is a requirement by law, and every email that you send that does not have an accurate mailing address for your business it can cost you thousands of dollars per email that you send. Now, if you want to change the address, maybe you have a PO box or you have a business address, you can just go to contact info here. And whatever information you have in the field on this page is going to be what shows up at the very bottom of the emails that you send. And again, that is absolutely something that has to be there if you don't want to be charged lots of money for being out of compliance with that. All right, confirmation page. I have Go Next, the free community lounge in the member area. Will it take them there automatically, or do I need to create an email telling them to set up a login at the member area, or does AttractWell automatically do the login? Okay, so Zoom user, not sure who you are. Thank you for this question about member areas. So this would be they're going to have to create a login if they don't already have access to your member area. So the best option, because they need a password, right? So what I would do is send them to like if they're granted vault access on your whatever the landing page is, then I would just redirect them to the member area. Or actually, I think the better thing to do is just go to a confirmation page and say check your email, because if you are adding them to a vault, maybe this is a free community that you have. If you're adding to them to a vault after they have opted in, and you have a built-in welcome to vault campaign attached to that, it's going to give them instructions and a link to click to go and set up that login that they need for your member area. All right. Where do we put multiple choice of email addresses? Oh, yes, this is a cool thing. Let's go back over here to our email templates. Whenever you're creating an email template, one of the options that you do have is your send from, and that's in the overall settings here. And you can edit my emails or your from addresses. So these can be from different email addresses on your domain. Or this could, just be different ways of saying your name, right? Just to kind of give a little pattern interrupt in the inbox. So that's how you do that. And you can choose here. You could just keep it very straightforward. So here's Jane Jones, but then here's your friend Jane. So when this particular email goes out, it's coming from your friend Jane, which is helpful. Um, and you don't, yeah, that would be where you add them. You just go to my emails. All right, again, not sure who you are, anonymous attendee. 150, you sent out 150 invites to a scheduled free Zoom class and have not received any registrations. Is that normal? Yes, so possibly I would think maybe not though. So what I would do in that case is to go to your messages and just verify that those were delivered, right? So you can actually see, um, well, this is kind of old, but you can actually click here and see what was sent. Or sorry, that's a scheduled one. Here we go. You can see the percent delivered, percent of people open, percent of people clicked. So this is what's actually going to give you some intelligence as to whether or not that email landed at all where it was intended, or if people did in fact receive it but didn't bother to open the email, or maybe they did open the email and they did or didn't click, right? So that's what you're going to want to look for in that. And that's in your messages that you sent previously. All right, Alex says, does the saved replies as a saved section mean we won't really be using saved replies anymore? I have a number of saved replies that are a complete email rather than a small section, and I'm not sure that I would be creating that many saved sections. So this is actually something that you could use saved replies in their traditional sense. Like if you just wanted to send an email, like you don't actually have to use the builder. If you've got saved replies and they're whole emails and they look good, like it's fine, it works for you. You could just simply go and use it, right? And so if I were to go to my contacts or actually I'm just going to start with dashboard here and act like I'm going to send a message, one message, write email. So you see you've got all of these options that you can choose from, right? But you also have this. Use the basic email editor and go grab that saved reply, right? And pop it in. So you can still use that. Um, and that's, and it works perfectly fine. Now, if you wanted to convert that entire email into its own template, like it could just be a template that like if it's something that you use very often, then you could also just use that as a template itself. So just make the actual saved reply into an actual entire email template. All right, what email template would you recommend if I'm only going to use it to announce to my contacts my weekly blog? It's really a matter of personal preference and the style that you like. I really like, honestly, my favorite one is the simplest one. And that is the minimalist one. It actually does use a couple of images, but they really function more like buttons and a header image with a nice background, kind of basic color. So something very simple like this is fine. You don't have to have a bunch of images for your email to be effective, right? So we got more questions, so many good questions here. And Erica, thank you so much for your patience. We'll be bringing you out shortly. And if we don't make it through everything that you need, we can hop on a quick call. All right. Let me see. In the lead magnet template where it says drop your logo in here, I did, but the wording never went away. Is that a bug? So in the lead magnet template where it says drop your logo in here, I think that's a Canva thing. So I think that you would need to be editing the Canva template. So I think that that's what you're talking about. So let me go find the email templates here. And you can absolutely like put your here, let me make sure I'm sharing correctly here. Um, There we go. Yeah, you could also upload your like logo to AttractWell and it'll show up like on your homepage and stuff like that. But if you want it in particular places in your email, you're gonna want to put that into a saved section, or just incorporate that into an email itself, right? So if I say, for instance, to put my logo somewhere, um, if it looks like this, right? If it's one of these, if you can click it and pull it over, it's an image, right? And those images are here in the Canva file. So I would actually make that modification in Canva and then bring it over. All right, Ricky says, is there any way to allow a contact to decide which tags are added to their record or to decide which mailing list to be included in or excluded from? Yes, Ricky, we actually just did a training on this recently. Let me come over here to Success Academy and show you. Let me see. So if we go live training and replays, we did communication preferences. It's this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and copy the link to our blog post there, and I'll put this in the chat um, for you, Ricky. And yeah, there is absolutely a way to do that. It's like a communication or contact preferences page where they make different choices that will tag, untag, apply different automations, all that kind of good stuff. All right. Let me see. Is there any email template to ask for referrals or share it with others who might benefit? My goal is to make it easy to share. So this would be a really great case for a saved section, right? Or maybe even taking a saved reply where you might have done this previously and turning that into its own saved section that you can pop in to the bottom of any email that you send. I think if you are a business that's based on referrals, it would be worthwhile to just have that baked into your template, just like you would have maybe a case study or testimonial for lead-facing emails that you send. Because if you are, talking to clients, for instance, or you're emailing people who have worked with you, you want to always just have that little line say, you want to share the love. I love referrals. When you refer a friend, you get X, Y, Z from me, and just have that down near your signature and just always include it. All right. Ricky said, no, I got that one already. All right, Erica. Um, if you're trying to use a photo banner header for a newsletter template, do you have to change the section first? So I'm not sure I follow, but I think what we would be looking for in that case, if we're creating if we're designing a section or designing a template entirely, what you would want to do, and there's an example of that. This actually is an example. This is an image right here. So if you want this to, if you want an image to actually be a header, you can use that here. And this is an image section, right? So I actually, to create that, I drug an image section over here and I uploaded the image that I wanted, right? So here's this one. And because of the way that I have this set up, I have preferences that are applied to basically everything that I've created here. You may choose to do something differently. But what I did in the overall settings is there is no padding on the email itself. You see how there's all of this extra padding around the outside? I really like those images that just go all the way to the edge, right? And so you can do that and so you can have a true newsletter header image up here that truly heads the entire thing. But you do have other options, right? Like you can create borders and give the border a color, etc. Like you have a lot of these options that you can play around with. All right. Let's see. I wanted to drag and drop a pre-existing banner, but it wouldn't stick. Oh, that's interesting. That if it's not like if you have a section over here and you're trying to move it in and it's not happening, then just make sure that you see where it's kind of turning green, where it wants to insert. If that's not happening for you, first thing I would do is just go ahead and save and refresh the page just to make sure there's nothing weird happening with your browser. But if it keeps happening, please do reach out to the team, just in case there is something that we need to address and fix. All right. Um, Okay. All right. Erica, shoot me a message. I'm happy to chat with you further about your questions and the other stuff that you're working on. All right. Thank you guys so much for so many awesome questions. And Yulia, let me also show you, as promised, where you can find that training. And it's been a bit since I did it. Let me just give you the sort of Cliff's Notes explanation. With AttractWell, you have Zoom meetings built in, right? And in my opinion, as someone who hosts two webinars at least per week, every week of the year, just about, I really only think that webinars have a use and a place in really specific situations. So, like in ours, I'm creating, like you here right now, you're on our YouTube video, right? And I don't think that it would make as good of a YouTube video if we were in a meeting where, there was all different types of people who, were on camera, off camera, unmuted, muted, etc. But where what you're doing is designed to be interactive, which is true for the majority of us, the majority of the time, meetings are better. And the good news for you is that it's cheaper and it's included with AttractWell. You can use the traditional webinar style or the webinar feature from Zoom, but that isn't something that they do with enterprise plans, or at least not the one that we have that we provide to you guys. And so it would be an additional expense. I would say, unless you are running calls that have, like on a regular basis, that have over 40 people on them every time you're on them, and you need to preserve the recording in such a way that that you use it for your content, like what we do, then there may be a case for paying that extra money for Zoom. But let me see. Again, I wanted to find this training that I've mentioned. Um, Let me see. I know it was a while back, so it's not going to be on our. Here we go. It was a year ago. All right, I'm going to pop this into the chat. Just so you know how I found this. Let me share my screen really quickly so you can see. I went into the Success Academy and I typed in the word webinar, right? And that took me over here to YouTube. And a year ago, we actually talked about this. So I'm going to pop this in. And Yulia, I hope that that's really helpful for you. And I do talk about some of the different ways that you can use Zoom meetings to affect a webinar style presentation, different settings that you can have for that as well. All right, let me see. So many great questions in here. Um, Frank, I'm not sure I understand. Oh, here we go. Um, Around 132 contacts scheduled 3 hours ago. It was del okay, so 99% delivery. I don't really know what else is going on there. If you are still here, I'd be happy to chat with you really quickly if you want to pop your hand up. I don't know if you are still here. Okay, great. Okay. Okay. Hi, Frank.
Mute. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I sent out the 128 contacts clicked, and well, no, 128 contacts who clicked for a total of 674 clicks. So, what am I doing wrong? Why aren't these people registering after they click if so many clicks went through? So,
Right.
there's something uh, wrong with the system, with me, what I did, what happened.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. So what it looks like is come back over here. All right. So your message here, we've got a link here that's working correctly. You wanted them to come over here to this page to register for this event, right?
Mhm.
Okay, excellent. Let's just make sure that all of these are working correctly. And they are. Good. Okay. So what it looks like is that they're going there, and they're not registering. So you do have this set up correctly. So it looks like, yeah, it delivered. That's fantastic. The the click through is fantastic, but they're not converting, is what it looks
So
like.
also these are people that open every email and click every link, but now that I'm offering a free course, I would have expected them to be curious enough to actually register.
Yeah. So a couple of things come to mind here,
Okay.
and a couple of things that you might try moving forward. Number one, even though it's free and even though it is no doubt incredibly valuable, a course is still work that they have to invest, right? And so it's not it's not always enough to really grab with immediacy uh their action, right? Where you have instances like this, I might consider, and this is an event. It looks like you've got a free course that is also time sensitive, right? So it is very specifically tonight, um, from 7 to 8 p.m. There's a number of different reasons that people might not engage with something that's calendared, right? Like they, could literally be that they don't have the time. They're not, whatever their availability issues might be. It could be a commitment thing. It could also be, and I don't know what your relationship is with those on your list that you're mailing, um, is that we are actually putting this information here out front first, right? Where they're basically, they're going to get this free stuff, but they also kind of know where it's going to go after that, right?
Oh,
Right. So it could be that they're seeing that they're going to go to this, but then they might assume that they might feel pressured to make a decision or pay money that they don't want to or aren't ready to or whatever, right? So it could be that this is information that they don't need to know yet, right? So that's another way to potentially consider this. Um, Another thing that you could do as well is maybe indicate that this will be recorded, right? And let them know, hey, this is going to be recorded. Make sure that that's in the email, make sure that that's here. Let them know that they will be able to access the recording. That's another way to maybe increase conversion onto an event. But I definitely wouldn't lead with, here's what I'm going to pitch you on, more or less, after you've attended the event, because that will cause people, even if they could be open to the very thing that you're selling, to maybe reconsider whether or not they want to show up for something, because then they might start to think that maybe the value isn't in this, right? Where they spend their time and they just make their decision based on what you say about the thing that you're selling and its price, right? And the final thing that I might consider doing is utilizing an automation. So if this is a list that clearly is used to communicating with you, right? They open your emails. This is phenomenal. Like this click-through rate, all of this. It's really, really great. Even for this number of people, it's fantastic. So what I would say is if they are responsive and they do click, maybe utilize automations instead of sending them to a link where they have to read something and then register. Because you can go into your account and under, let's see, settings, under contacts, you can go to automations and you can have an automation that RSVPs them for an event, right? So here I would event RSVP. I would maybe tag them, with the event name. I would apply the campaign that reminds them of the time and sends the link, all that kind of stuff. And then the link that this generates, you put in that email. And so instead of them, clicking a link and going all the way over here, they click a link and they're registered. So you're going to be sending them the link to join. Like if they're interested enough to click, just register them, right? And you can do that with an automation. Just make sure that if it is a link in email and they click the link in email, that you are redirecting them after they have opted in. So if they click the link, let me come back over to automations here real quick. Here we would apply the RSVP via an action. And under advanced options here, I would maybe send them to like a confirmation page on your website that says, remember it's going to be at 7 and bring a friend or whatever it is that you wanted to say. So if you do have like a high compliance list in terms of opens and clicks, go ahead and take advantage of that behavior by having the click be the thing that registers them.
got it.
And then you'll get, if you got almost 100% of people clicking through, you're going to get 100% of people. Probably not 100% at that point when you say click the button below and you'll be immediately registered. Like if you want to save your seat, go ahead and click. And you're going to take that intent and the verbiage that you're using and just automatically get them signed up for whatever the thing is.
Good deal, because they're already in the system and the
Hmm.
system will know register this person.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you can sort of skip the step of that small barrier to entry. And yeah, I would where you do plan to make an offer after a free thing that you're trying to get people to register for,
Benefit
I
from.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't disclose that there will be a sales conversation available after a free event, but I might not put all of the details of what the program is and what it costs and things like that, because that really is kind of causing people to make the decision to not even do the free thing, when the free thing is what could really pitch the thing that you're selling.
Okay, got it.
Awesome. Glad. Good. Glad we could help. All right, thank you guys for being here, for allowing us to be a part of your journey making an impact in the world. And we absolutely appreciate and honor that space that you allow us to serve you. And you guys just continually inspire us. If you're not a part of our Facebook group yet, please go join. Our team is there if you need help, support, ideas. The community is incredible. And I really hope that you guys enjoy playing around with and designing your email templates. Enjoy what you've got there. We will be back here same time next week, where I believe next week we're going to do a little course creation workshop. So if you are ready for something like that, be sure to join us. And of course, we look forward to seeing you in the meantime in our Facebook group. Take care, everybody.